Welcome to Legacy Makers, a conversation for dads. This is a space for building community and for honest conversations about fatherhood, the wins, the struggles, and the responsibility of building something that outlives us. Each episode, we sit down with leaders, dads, and friends to talk about family, fatherhood, and the kind of men our kids need us to be, because legacy isn't accidental, it's built. All right, man, we're back. We're going to continue building a house.
Hey,
You ready?
we should have brought our village people construction costumes today.
We'll do that at some point. So we've,
Sure we will.
first of all, we've done some good things to start the house. We laid a foundation. It's
Yep.
important. We've framed, so we got an idea of the rooms and how this thing's going to look. We're going to talk about load-bearing walls today, Kev.
Yeah, and I would love to, I'm going to tap into your construction knowledge
please.
for just a second, because I loved how you shared this in the last time. When we were talking about framing, you talked about, we need a structure, but certain walls can be moved or expanded later. Hey, we're going to knock this down, have a bigger living room.
Yep.
But you said something in that episode I'd love for you to just revisit about, give me the construction reason of why a load-bearing wall is important.
Well, we've done some things to the house. It's been my favorite thing to do is just live in a house that continually just gets updated. And then you think you're done, and then the next thing happens, and at some point we'll be done, and then we'll restart all the things, which is great.
Brittany makes your house look good, though.
Yes, she does for sure. But there's a sentence when the contractor comes over that is not a good sentence to hear when you are laying out the vision of the room. And that sentence is, I'm pretty sure that's a load-bearing wall.
Which means we can't knock it down because
Totally.
we got to put in a beam or do something.
The house could be at risk, or that part of the house could be at risk.
Okay, I like that. So if you got rid of that wall, I'm trying to think of the structural integrity could be at risk.
Totally. It's something that that wall is not just about that wall. There's something that in that area of the house that it's dependent on that wall. It is there to hold things up. It is there to be foundational. It's there to be security. And so it's typically people don't talk about these walls. You don't know it, but
they're not glamorous. They're not but they are. It's important.
They're invisible. You can't, I'm looking around this room. I don't know which one. There's probably a load-bearing wall at some, but to me, I don't know which one it is, but it's essential, right? And as we think about this as a dad, there's things that as we approach being a parent, as a husband, that are really, really essential, but oftentimes they might be invisible to others, right? And that's what I want to talk about today, because in a house, it holds up the structure. For a dad that's building a legacy, it's about trust and safety and connection. And in both instances, the analogy and in reality, if it fails, everything is going to feel it. If there is an issue, everyone will feel that. So, listen, and when you think about load-bearing walls, when you think about the analogy to fatherhood, I'd love your thoughts on what comes to mind immediately as some things.
Yeah, it's two thoughts initially. One, you talk about it's the things that aren't seen.
Yep.
So the load-bearing wall is not the thing that somebody outside of my house is probably going to see a lot of what goes on.
Yeah.
It's the daily, consistent habits or patterns that take place that build over a period of time. And I feel like this, if we're going to put the right load-bearing walls in place, there's got to be consistent effort over a long period of time.
Yeah.
It's not something that just is going to be moved or changed on a whim. Andy Stanley, we've talked about him before.
Yeah.
He says this quote that direction, not intention, determines destination. So what he's saying is it's actually the way we're headed, not just what we hope to do. I feel like a load-bearing wall is not what we say we're about. It's not what we hope we're about. It's the things that it is going to be driven by daily consistent patterns of behaviors.
And so he's saying the specificity of the direction is as or more important than the intention behind it.
Yes, that if we can hope we're going to get there, we can, he uses this example of if we decide we're going to take our family to Disney World and we get on and we're in Atlanta and we get on 75 North. Like, we're not making a Disney World. It doesn't matter if we intend or hope. And I think this load-bearing wall is character and consistency that has got to be it's got to be a directional action, not just a desire.
And I would say even, so that example for directionally challenged people that are listening, we live in Atlanta, Georgia.
Yep.
Driving to Disney World would be hopping on 75 South, picking up 80, like headed down south.
Yeah.
So you're saying 75 North. I would even say that's the complete wrong direction. If you got the coordinates slightly wrong, right? Just slightly wrong to start that drive, that 7-hour drive that I've taken many times, you could end up in Savannah or Daytona Beach, or you could end up on the other side of Florida, meaning it's not just like, oh, the direction better not be opposite. Like, it's got to be incredibly precise, because just getting off a little bit over time, you could end up in a completely wrong destination as you think about that analogy.
Yeah.
The thing that's also interesting for me is I think about we've talked about this, the feedback loop on if you're doing this right.
We don't get that.
It's not, you don't get it. So you have to be locked in on setting the direction of what's important to you as a dad, how you communicate, how you show up. We can have the best intentions, back to that quote, but if we're not showing up consistently, day in and day out, it doesn't matter, because it's easy for pulse periods to be the greatest dad in the world and be the most intentional person and show up. But man, like, sometimes that feedback loop is so far out there. If you're not careful, like, by the time you get the feedback, if you were good or bad, like, it's not too late, but you've missed a huge window. I got a story about this, and it's not it was actually a very proud dad moment for me. Camden, my oldest, is 12. And I guess when I think about load-bearing wall principles, and this is like not a Blumenthal thing, I guarantee you every dad that's listening, this is one of the core principles, which is like, you do your very best.
Yeah.
Full stop. Like, that's it. That's what I'm judging you on. That's what I'm pushing. Like, look at the man or the kid in the mirror. Like, did you do your best? I've gone through such a gnarly situation at work. Very rarely do my situations at work spill over for the family to feel. This was one where it was like over a week of very intense calls on the weekend, every night at the office, working through it.
So quantity of work. Was it also just stress? Like
stress. Now, I'm proud of myself because I did bring I let the kids know, hey, and they know, like, this is a situation, we're working through it. Like, it's a big situation. And towards the tail end of this, actually like last week, I was sitting in my driveway, getting ready to pull out to go to a work dinner. Camden's getting off the middle school bus, knocks on my window. I'm like blank staring. I mean, I'm just exhausted. It's been a tough stretch. He knocks on the door. I roll the window down. He's like, "You all right, Dad?" I'm like, "Yeah, buddy. I'm getting ready to go to this dinner." He's like, "Did you win the situation?"
Yeah.
And at this moment, I was like, I didn't think I was going to win. It was a low. And I said, "Buddy, it's not looking good, man. I don't know. I don't think so." And he looked at me and he said, "Dad, I just want you to know I'm proud of you." Like, I'm going to cry. I'm going to cry like Tom. He's like, I'm proud of you. Yeah. Like, you've worked so hard.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Shut up, get out of here." Like, I'm just like an emotional wreck. But like, that was one of those feedback loops as a 12-year-old of hearing like what I have said to him over and over, and then like him playing that back.
Yeah.
But again,
really
like,
cool.
That's the importance of being intentional about these load-bearing walls we're setting up. Like, what are the things that are really important, but also then how do you show up and make sure you're delivering that day to day, right?
Yeah. Two things that come to mind out of that. One, that is obviously something you've said multiple times over a bunch of years. I think there's the big speeches, the one-time things we want to drill through our kids' heads, and we think, but the fact that you said that repeatedly,
Yeah.
is I feel like why that came back in that way. The other is, I feel like when you do that, you've instilled something in them that where what you say has matched what you do.
Yeah.
So he saw not
Right.
just talking points.
I think that's right.
So,
You're one of the best communicators I know. So when we think about load bearing walls and identifying what are the things that are important and then communicating those things, like I'm putting you on the spot, but like what are some principles from communication that as a dad that you pull that thread through so that, you know what I mean? Like, is there anything that comes to your mind there?
well, there's several things. I think one, I would put them into different categories. I would talk about spiritually, emotionally, and then discipline as well. So on a spiritual side, I think there has to be rhythms that take place in our life. So it's the consistent prayers before bedtime. It's I don't think we've done a great job. We'd read a lot in our house, but reading something related to our faith, I think, is probably an area that's off for us. So I think that's although I don't think kids will always remember what we said. They'll remember what they watched us do.
Yeah, I think you're totally
So
agree with that.
I think that's on the spiritual side. On the emotional side, and let me tell you that this is an area I feel like I am at a gap sometimes, is consistent, safe, stable responses. So you're talking about your oldest. We went out to eat the other night we took all three of them out, which is like we do that we've talked about La Paria. Like it's fine at La Paria. We went to a nicer restaurant because we had a gift card there. My 2-year-old cannot sit in the chair the whole time, like gets out of the chair. And I am losing my mind, honestly, because I'm embarrassed.
Yeah.
Because of what other people are seeing. And Laura, she wasn't being critical, but she's like, you can't expect him to do something in public that we're not consistently expecting him to do in private. And I feel like that my response was not that consistent, stable. And so I think that's key. And then I also think related to discipline, reinforcing, like a load-bearing wall has got to be something that is consistently reinforced. It can't be a haphazard thing. What do you think?
Brittany doesn't always listen, so hopefully she doesn't listen to this one.
Yeah.
We had I got some feedback last night
Okay.
about the consistency on discipline. I am
From Brittany to you.
correct. One could say I was being disciplined.
Yeah. And what was the issue is that
The issue is, and I'm admittedly, I am very clear on my expectations and am able to deliver that with the boys. I am not as good with the girls.
Yeah.
And it drives her crazy because it ends up being a challenge, like when I'm around or like when she's just got them, because I will allow certain the width of which I'm allowing things, it widens versus with the boys. And so I think that consistency piece is really, really important for the load bearing wall piece for the kids to understand. Boundaries are so important. And I think the consistency is that, like, there's no such thing as boundaries because it's just whiplash for them. It's like, wait, I could do this at one point, but now I can't. And that's a really big issue as you think about structurally building that foundation for your family.
So when you gave the illustration of your house, like when you're going to do renovations, I would say this, that the load-bearing walls provide a boundary and a limitation. And one of the things that I struggle with as a dad sometimes is I don't like the limitations and the boundaries on me. So when we're trying to discipline for behavior, where I am least consistent is when it is going to cost me personally.
Yeah.
Like when I'm like, yeah, I don't make him sit down because I don't want to get up from dinner and have to go do this. Like it's going to interrupt me. And so I think this is maybe a good takeaway for dads listening or anybody listening. A load-bearing wall is a necessary boundary, not only for our kids, but for ourselves. And each of us need that in our lives if we're going to it's not always fun to butt up against that, but we've got to have something that keeps us in place.
Yeah, and what I'm taking from that, especially after the feedback I received from my wife last night, is it's not just for the kid, it's for yourself, right? Like in that instance, these are the things that I will sacrifice my peace for.
Yeah.
Like if this happens, then we're going to, unfortunately, like, if that causes a big blow up or a tantrum or kids are going to bed upset and I just wanted a happy movie night, like these are non-negotiables. These are load-bearing walls that can't move.
Yeah.
And I think that's where, myself included, that's where we can get into challenge if we don't hold ourselves accountable. Ultimately, like that whole notion of like, you're not here right now and your kids are little to be their best friend. Like you want to earn the right to be their best friend. And you also want to earn a happy, peaceful home, which can't exist without these load-bearing walls. That they can't.
Yep. Let me ask you this. I've thought about it this way, that my kids may not remember everything I did, but they will remember the things that I always do.
Mm-hmm.
Like they are going to remember those repeatable, consistent things. Do you have certain disciplines or things that are like they're your non-negotiables?
For me personally?
Yeah.
Yeah. So for me personally, like, and it happened this morning with, while Camden was my oldest getting ready for middle school. I do something physical every day and he knows that. Like
Okay.
that I want, and it's for me, yes, I want to be around, I want to be healthy, but also it's important for me to demonstrate to my kids, like we're stewards of this body, like that we've been given, and you need to be a good steward. Like you need to take care of yourself. Right. I don't miss church on Sunday. Like Camden had baseball. Well, all the kids are going with me to church. Camden might be a baseball with mom, but like I am the leader of my family as it relates to spiritual guidance. Like they're going to church with me, like full stop. I'll miss any of their games. I'll take the kids that aren't playing and we're going to go to church every Sunday.
Wow.
Right. Like for me with the kids, when I'm not traveling, it's the bus. I get them up for bed. And honestly, like this morning I just wanted to go into work early.
Uh-huh.
It was much easier for me to go into work early.
Yeah.
Miss traffic, do my thing, get a head start. But like I'm not traveling. So like I can't be selfish in that moment. They're going to wake up to my face. We'll get them ready and get them going. So those are a couple things, but like that hasn't been like a easy thing for me to do. These are things that like I've had to be really clear on. What do I want my kids, to your point, to see in me that one day they'll talk about as, hey, like, because I could say all the time, church is important, or hey, take care of yourself. But if they don't see the rubber meets the road, is like making sure the audio and the visual kind of meet, right?
Yeah, there's a guy named Max Dupree who is the CEO of Herman Miller Furniture,
Mm-hmm.
and he told a story that I probably heard 20 years ago, and it still sticks in my mind. And I'll hurry the story for the sake of people that are listening to this.
Yeah.
But their granddaughter was being born in neonatal intensive care unit. When she was born, she was 1 pound 7 ounces.
Oh,
They said she was so small, I'm using this visual right now, that he could take his wedding ring and slide it up her arm to her shoulder.
poor baby.
So when she was born, she had like 2 tubes, IVs in her stomach, 1 in her foot, feeding tube, respirator, all the deal, chest monitors. To make matters worse, the son-in-law had skipped town, so the little baby's dad. And so Max is now going in to visit his baby granddaughter for the first time in a neonatal intensive care unit. And there was this super wise nurse that before he walked in said, hey, when you go in to see this baby, I want you to do 2 things. Like, number 1, I want you to rub the baby's skin. The baby's name was Zoe, like over and over. So she needs this physical touch. And then as you are rubbing her skin, I want you to say out loud over and over, I love you. I love you. I love you. And this is what the nurse said. This is so good because it applies to what we're talking about. She said, because that baby needs to be able to connect your voice to your touch. Like she needs to connect what you say to what you do. And I think when we think about load-bearing walls, this is about the consistency of words and actions. It can't be separate here. we may do the right things sometimes quietly, we may say the right things, but where these overlap are the things that our kids are going to remember.
Yeah, I resonate with that. I mean, my girl's not anywhere near that, but I can visualize them both being in the NICU in some of those moments. I've got a good buddy, Turner, whose son Sterling is in the exact situation you're talking about, and I know he listens and just sending love and prayers his way. Man, that is such a beautiful image, and I think again it goes back to these load bearing walls in your house are basically invisible
Yeah,
to the
that's
eye.
right.
They're just there, but they're so important. And in fact, not only important, like the house crumbles. And if we're not careful, that's what our families could be and our legacies could follow. And I have a similar story on the importance of putting the walls up, but also just ensuring that they're solidified. And so in this thing, it would be like making sure that your actions are exactly what you're telling your kids. A former president of Coca-Cola, she told this beautiful story when she was retiring, um, of the guilt she felt as a mom for her career and in her mind traveling and missing big moments and not being there as much as she wanted to. And it ate her up inside. And she put a lot of pressure on herself. And then she told the story of her daughter graduating high school and getting a note from her daughter that essentially said, "You're the greatest mom ever. I, you were there all the time. You were always there encouraging me. You were the best example of somebody who works really hard but always prioritizes family." And it's this moment of like, we are always going to be so hard on ourselves for time that we missed or couldn't be there. But if you get the load bearing walls right and you continue to lean into those, your kids will remember those things. They're not going to remember the bus stop that I didn't get to take them to. They will remember the consistent ones that I was there. And that is, I think guilt is one of the biggest things that derails dads and moms on their journey of like always thinking we could be doing better versus giving ourselves credit for like, hey, I've set some good things in place here and we're going to continue to lean into those. So
I would, let me close with this, and then I'd love for you to wrap us before we finish this. I think there are two things that we've got to do as dads related to this. One is we have to identify the load-bearing walls. Like just in the same thing you're doing a construction project, we need to know what those things are. And they may be different for some of us at different stages of life, but we've got to say, like, what are the things that I can't not be consistent on? Because there are certain things that may have to shift, but these are the non-negotiables. So identify them and then act accordingly.
yeah.
I feel like sometimes we could listen to this and we could put a lot of pressure on ourselves to do all the things. We may not do all the things, but these things, like maybe it's these 3 things that I'm going to consistently do, and everything else may come and go in seasons, but these I've identified and I'm acting accordingly.
I love it. I'm going to, a similar thought as we close out, identify a couple of these things and then start. Whether that's create what we call an anchor moment every day with your kids. And this could be 2 minutes. It could be doing affirmations. It could be praying at night. It could be encouraging them, telling them every single day, this is who you are and this is what you're going to be. Whatever it is, like find an anchor moment and just do that every day. But think about it. It could be putting the phone down. It could be, look, when I speak with my kids, I'm going to work on my tone of my voice. I'm going to speak with kindness. Like, I just challenge dads that are listening, figure out what it is for you and then just do it. At some point you had to set an intention towards your retirement. You had to say, look, I'm going to do these investments, whether it be a 401k or a Roth or whatever the vehicle might be to at some day retire. You had the intent, you took the action, you said it, and you forget it. And one day that compounded growth is going to be something that is beautiful and it's yours. It's the same thing with our kids. That compounded consistency over time is the true multiplier. And so for any dad listening, think about what these load-bearing walls are to you, your family. Don't overthink it and just do it.